Hello there. Are you sure you're in the right place? See the name on the door? This podcast is Spine Chillers and Serial Killers. Surely you don't want to come in here. You do. Well, I must warn you that things are pretty adult in here. Absolutely no children are allowed. Obscene language, shocking and horrendous stories to chill you to your core, and terrifying tales that'll keep you up at night. The ladies inside aren't quite right. Lovely and hilarious, but very strange. Still want in, do you? Well, you'll get what you're here for. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome back to Spine Chillers and Serial Killers. I'm Tash.
I'm Becky.
And I'm Emma. Hello.
Season 5, baby.
Season 5.
Yeah.
We're back.
After a little extended break.
Little? I've forgotten how to do this.
When I was putting my story together, I was like, this doesn't make sense. Let's start again.
No, it's brilliant to be back. I've missed this so much. Are you both okay? Did you enjoy your summer break?
It was lovely.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot, isn't it? Summer break. It's meant to be easier, then crave normality and routine, and then turns out that's also crazy. So I'm slowly but surely coming to the realisation being an adult is it.
Yeah, it's just always mental.
Yeah.
No let up.
Insane.
But it was good. The kids had a good summer. And yeah, I'm looking forward to a holiday in a couple of weeks
Lovely.
with no
Are
children.
you going away? Are you going to miss a recording?
No.
Oh, perfect. That told me.
That's a very smug little face there,
Actually,
Mrs. Natasha. You were like, actually, fuck off. Are you drinking a pumpkin spice latte?
Just water.
Oh, that's sad. That's not as exciting as what I was expecting.
Well, it is getting to that time, isn't it?
It's not for me.
It's our time to shine. Do you think we'll be able to do a Halloween episode
On time.
on time?
I think we should
Try.
our hardest to record
Yeah.
a Halloween special.
Yeah.
Like a
release
week
it
or
on
two in
time.
advance. Yes.
Yeah, I think we should do that too. Maybe a little live, possibly. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe.
Let's see what we can do. Let's
Yeah.
let's not promise the world and deliver nothing.
Yeah. Let's at least just try and put an episode, a special one out on Halloween. That'd be
Let's
great.
just get this one out first.
Yes, let's just
Yeah.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's season 5, episode 1. Here we go. Drum roll.
And begin. Girls, have you watched Chimp Crazy?
No. Should I?
Chimp.
Chimp Crazy. Do you remember Tiger King?
Sorry, the whole reason there was a lockdown was so we could all watch Tiger King. Yeah.
Well, this is like the same thing, but with chimps. And it is absolutely fucking mental. And I think you need to watch it. It's on...
Is Carol Baskin back?
No, she's not. But the lady that's in it, bless her heart, is a lot. She is a lot.
Is her name Carol Haskin?
She looks... well, she says she looks like Dolly Parton. And she has got that very big blonde hair, fake eyelashes, you know, fake tan.
But she's not quite Dolly.
No.
No, well, no one is.
She's a nice lady, but she is absolutely fucking mental. Like, you thought playing around with a tiger was bad? Chimpanzees, man, you don't want to fuck with them.
No, you don't, do you?
No, they'll rip your face off.
Exactly. Well, that story, do you remember that story of the woman who...
Horrific.
had her face ripped off by her mate's chimpanzee. That's on
I
it.
do indeed.
They talk
Oh.
about it on there.
Gosh. Horrific.
And that woman actually, I won't, do you know what? I'm not going to give it away. Chimp crazy, mental, go and watch it.
Where do we watch it?
I think, well, in France, it's on Prime Video.
Okay, I'll look it up.
But yeah, the point to me talking about Chimp Crazy, apart from the fact that it is mental. So I watched the whole show, binged it, and then you know when you finish a video on Prime, it just automatically starts playing the next thing.
Yeah.
And for me, so I'm like on my iPad doing a stupid little game, not paying attention to the next thing that comes up, and I look at my screen, and it's just dicks. There are just dicks all over my screen. And it started playing. So Prime Video had decided from watching Chimp Crazy that the next thing that I wanted to watch was Naked Attraction.
But it is funny, isn't it?
It is funny, but...
I can't watch it. It's too embarrassing.
yeah, you just sit there going, oh, it's so cringy.
I was cringing. I'm like, look at penises.
I can't believe it. I know we've spoken about this show before.
I just think it's funny when they're like, could you just swing your ding-a-ling?
It's so cringy. It's so cringy. And they always get rid of the little willies first. They're like, oh, well, yeah, I don't really like his legs. And I was like, his third leg is not what you're liking.
And his tiny cock.
Yeah, I don't like his small cock.
I didn't watch it for that long, but there was a lad on there. I didn't see his face or anything, who was a slightly bigger chap and had a slightly smaller willy. You know when you get a bit of a belly on a bloke and it kind of overlaps over the peen and it makes it kind of shrink inside?
Yeah.
There was that whole thing going on.
Like a chode.
I knew it was only a matter of time before someone said that lovely word. I was like, I'm just gonna stay calm and no one will say it. But no.
It just makes me laugh when they're like, oh, I don't really like big testicles. Oh, okay. Like,
I don't think I have a preference for testicles, I must admit.
I've never thought that much about it.
No.
I don't think testicles have bothered me. They could just be one, and I don't want mine. Testicles are fine. They're just there. Oh,
Testes.
but it's so embarrassing. I'm just like hiding in a pillow. You know when you like go to the side of the sofa, you bum in the air and die into a pillow.
Second-hand embarrassment.
Second-hand embarrassment is terrible. It's just too much. I've got too much empathy, so it's the second-hand embarrassment.
Mortifying.
It's just too bad.
But the thing is, you've got to tell yourselves, these people are like full of confidence, right? Because when they get rejected, you see their face, they do the walk away, butt naked.
Yeah, it's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, so I mean...
And also, I bet they all have they must have normal jobs. So they went and did that at the weekend, and they go back to being an accountant or whatever they're doing. I assume probably not an accountant, but a lorry driver or something like that. I don't know. Just whatever. Like a normal job.
Your Willie's just been on TV. Anyway, it's very strange.
Yeah. Imagine the next time you sleep with someone, I've seen this Willie somewhere.
That Willie looks familiar.
Was it on?
Oh, I know you. You're the guy with the chode.
Were you the yellow one? Yeah, the chode behind door number 3.
But she didn't eliminate the chode, which, because I said to Ben, obviously, instantly called Ben in, come and watch what's on TV. This is hilarious. So we're both just we watched it for 10 minutes. And I said, she's going to eliminate the little dick. Come on, nobody's going to keep the little dick. And she actually kept him, but I don't know if it's worse because she didn't comment on the size, but she said, your fingers and your tongue could make me orgasm, so I'm not going to take into consideration anything else. And I was just like, that's worse.
Also, he could be a grower.
Could be.
Yeah.
But also, you can't get rid of the smallest one first because then it looks like that's what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, she went for the
Yeah,
one
they
with
usually leave it to second.
the slim legs. That's what she eliminated.
Also, listen, they know if their dick's small and they've got to work harder elsewhere. They know.
It's true. It's true.
No, my husband said no, that it's a weird. He was like, why does this exist?
It is
And I was
very
like, well, I
strange.
don't have an answer for that. Oh, anyway.
Very strange. But I will be watching more of it with my husband because it
is funny.
It's very, very funny. So yeah, but how they got naked attraction from me watching something about chimps is beyond me.
They knew what the people wanted to see.
Yeah.
Do you put your dog's paws in your mouth, Emma?
I have put one of my cat's paws in my mouth and my husband was absolutely horrified.
Yeah, I'm horrified that you've done that.
Yeah. But I did it. Do you know, like, intrusive thoughts?
Yeah.
And it was one of them that I actually acted upon. Because once I did it, I was like, that was not okay. Give me the mouthwash.
Yeah, because...
Do I put... That's such a random question.
What are you going to say? Tash, what are you going to say?
Somebody at my work, like one of my customers came in and they said, oh, I just like to... on their little paws. And I'm like, that's really disgusting. It makes me feel really sick.
That is... Yeah, that's not...
I don't do that.
It's really weird.
I did it once and realised my mistake instantly.
I wouldn't put my shoe in my mouth.
No, exactly.
I wouldn't lick my shoe, so I wouldn't put a dog's paw in my mouth.
No, it's really gross.
I mean, when you look at little cat feet, you kind of want to. You just be like, oh,
I get it, but really
I would
gross.
never, ever.
When you go like, are they biting the toenails? Are they biting the toenails, or what are they doing?
Who?
The person. You said they.
I don't know what they're doing. This is what I mean. It's just disgusting.
What if they're chewing off the toenails?
I don't know. I think I don't know.
Why?
I don't know. Right. Anyway, guys.
Yeah.
This is serious stuff now.
Go on.
Listeners, mainly.
Okay, not us.
But you girls too.
I mean, we can fuck off, really, and
you can answer.
Go on,
Yeah,
then.
we can step outside for a minute.
We're brainstorming together.
Okay, what are we brainstorming?
What should my segment be? So, basically, listeners, if you've got an idea or something you'd like me to talk about weekly, it can be anything, basically.
And we can't bring Tinder with Tash back. Because
we're not bringing Tinder with Tash
I know
back.
a lot of people miss Tinder with Tash, and there are reasons, but Tinder with Tash is not coming back, I'm afraid.
No. I'm sure there'll be the odd story here or there.
Of course.
But it's not going to be a segment anymore. So if there's anything you can think of that I can do, I'm happy to give it a go, see how it goes. So yeah, send your answers over to Emma.
Yeah.
Because I'm the only one that will answer.
She's here for us.
Too many messages upset me. Like, it's too stressful.
I'll be honest, guys, I don't even answer my personal messages. So,
and that is actually very, very true.
I don't answer.
Neither of them do. Neither of them do.
Terrible. I'll get a message. I'm like, I'll reply to that in a minute, and I reply.
I point blank don't
later.
even open them anymore. I've got about 8 unanswered messages on my phone. Can't be bothered. Let's put our heads together and come up with something, please. Thank you and goodbye.
Also, if you just like our little bit of banter, little bit of chat, little bit of personal life, how you doing? We can.
Yeah, exactly. That also.
We can just do this.
Yeah.
Leave it as it is. Saying that,
which we do well, to be fair.
Oh, we do. We do. Right. I think it's time to get to a story.
It's time, baby.
Becky, do you want to kick it off?
Is it me to start? I was thinking, who is it? Is it me?
To be fair, to be totally honest, I have no fucking idea, but I don't want to go first today, so.
Okay, I'll do this one then.
Because mine's quite funny, so I feel like if we start with yours, I mean, your stories have a tendency to not be amusing.
Well, it's murder, isn't it?
Yeah. Then maybe we can end on a high note at the end.
Like that.
Yep. That was
Tasha's
beautiful.
face when she did that now. Let's just jump in, shall we? Spadadunch.
I'm in. I'm already in.
I can't feel anything.
That was mean. That was mean.
Wrong hole.
You can use...
Even more worrying if she can't feel it.
Oh. Anyway, right, so back to the story that I haven't started, that I'm just about to.
Get on with it.
And same theme as there's lots of words that I don't know how to pronounce, including the surname of the main person that we're going to speak about today.
Oh dear.
So I'll do my best. So I do apologise if I don't say the name right. Michelle Knotek was born on the 15th of April 1954 in the small town of Raymond, Washington. She was the eldest of three siblings. So we'll call her Shelley because that's what she used to go by.
That's nice, actually. Shelley.
It's it's a nice little nickname. But she ain't nice, as you're about to find out.
Oh, fuck. I was rooting for her, but obviously...
Oh. You still root for her, but you might not want to. So Shelley's early years were shaped by chaos. She and her brothers grew up under the shadow of their mother, Sharon. She was a woman plagued by mental illness and alcoholism. She was entangled in a dangerous lifestyle, possibly even sex work. But regardless of the rumours surrounding Sharon, one thing is certain is that their home was far from stable. When Shelley was just 6 years old, their mother just vanished, seemingly abandoning her children to an uncertain fate because she hadn't actually left them with the dad at the time, just kind of left the house. Shelley, instead of nurturing her younger brothers, she became a source of torment for them, adding to the already fractured environment.
So how old is Shelley at this point? 6?
Yeah, when she was 6. So they were on their own for a few days. So the kids, the little ones, were like 3, 2.
What the fuck?
Yeah, eventually their father realised, I think she kind of left them back on their own, but with people that were in and out of their house. So it wasn't like parental figures. They were just with friends and people that didn't really want to look after the children. So eventually the children were sent to live with their father, Les Watson, and his new wife, Laura Stallings. Les was known as a charismatic and successful businessman, while Laura seemed like a perfect image of 1950s American beauty, housewife, you know. So really from the life that they were having with their mother, this looks good, you know, a stable household. Shelley really wasn't impressed though. She openly despised her stepmother and never hesitated to express how much she hated her.
Drama.
By the time Shelley was 13, tragedy struck. Her mother Sharon met a violent end as she was beaten to death by a man that she was kind of half living with, half homeless with. It was a really tragic chapter in an already turbulent life.
Sounds like Sharon's had it a bit rough.
Yeah. So Shelley, however, never once inquired about her mother's death, ever. She was just like, oh, your mum's dead. We're really sorry. And she just like was like, oh, okay.
Oh.
And never once talked about it, never once wanted to talk about it, asked any questions. Instead, she channeled all of her energy into tormenting her brothers, making them the scapegoats for her missing homework, or she was constantly picking fights with them. It didn't help that Paul, one of her brothers, struggled with controlling his impulses, and like his temper, he lacked basic social skills, making him really easy to wind up. Meanwhile, her other brother, Chuck, was silent, and he just allowed Shelley to speak on his behalf as if his voice didn't even matter.
Oh, bless him.
So he was a bit like her puppet almost. These weren't just squabbles of like typical sibling behaviour. This was something darker. She used to chop up bits of glass and hide them in the soles of her brother's shoes and boots.
That's deep, innit?
Yeah. What person does something like that?
That's insane.
A psychopath.
Yeah. She was no victim, yet she played the role very convincingly. In March 1969, when she was 14 years old, she revealed a glimpse of what she was capable of. One day, she didn't return home from school. And as time went on, her father and stepmother really worried, so they ended up calling the school, only to learn that Shelley had been taken to a juvenile detention centre. But she wasn't in trouble. She had actually accused her father of rape.
Oh my God, she's insane.
Right.
Well, maybe she isn't.
A doctor's examination confirmed that it was a lie. And also her stepmom, Laura, discovered a crumpled up copy of the True Confessions magazine. You know, the ones with the true stories in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the headline of that magazine was, "I was raped by my dad," and it was a story about that. And she'd read that and was like, well, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And it was 100% false.
Yeah.
And proved to be false. Obviously, they saw this as a massive red flag and sent her for therapy to see a psychologist because, you know, she's obviously got some issues. So she was sent for multiple sessions with a psychologist, both alone and with her family, to try and help.
Yeah.
But nothing seemed to change. Shelley stubbornly refused to admit any wrongdoing, maintaining her image of innocence at all costs. So eventually she was sent to live with Laura's parents, so her stepmom's parents. She was just too horrible to her brothers. But the change of environment did nothing to curb her destructive behaviour. Her tantrums persisted. She offered to babysit the neighbours' children, only to trap them in their rooms by barricading the doors with heavy furniture.
Jesus.
She's literally insane.
She's mental.
Yeah.
Very troubled.
And also, the grandparents know what she was like with the brothers. I wouldn't...
No.
Well, unless they just didn't know the extent of it. She then falsely accused the grandfather of sexual abuse as well.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
But her pattern of cruelty and manipulation and lies followed her into adulthood. It stained 2 marriages and the birth of her 2 daughters. So, you know, she was just lying away through everything. And
yeah.
so she had 2 daughters, Nikki and Sammy. After her marriage broke down, she met a construction worker and Navy veteran named David Huggins. So 5 years later, in 1987, the two were married, and the following year, Shelley welcomed her first victim into their home. He was her 13-year-old nephew, Shane Watson. Shane's father was a member of a biker gang and was in jail at the time, and his mother was unable to look after him. So David convinced Shelley to take him in. She took to torturing the 13-year-old Shane almost immediately. He had asked her to do anything and everything, like as much as even using the bathroom. To punish him, she made him stand out naked in the cold while she dumped water on him.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
She also did that to her daughters every now and again.
So are the daughters living with her as well?
Yeah. Yeah, they are, yeah.
What about David?
I don't think he's seeing most of this, but he's also really downtrodden. She wears the trousers.
Okay.
And she's really manipulative, and she emotionally and psychologically abuses him as well, the husband.
She's delightful.
Yeah. She also took additional pleasure in humiliating her eldest daughters, Nikki and Sammy. This isn't very nice, this next 5 seconds of text, if you wanted to skip it forward about 10 seconds. She enjoyed telling her daughters to pluck out their own pubic hair and give her handfuls of that.
Why?
What for?
I have no idea. I think because it hurts to do that, and it's like another control thing.
She's insane.
Absolutely insane. And she also caged them in like a kennel every now and again, especially the nephew. He was often caged when he wasn't behaving.
Fucking caging. Okay. Right.
Yeah. Once Shelley shoved Nikki's head through a glass door and said, "Oh, look what you made me do."
How motherly of her.
Yeah, and the only person in the home that Shelley didn't torture at the time was her infant daughter, Tori, which she had with David. But that would later change.
I was going to say, give it time.
Yeah. Meanwhile, she forced her nephew and Nikki to dance naked together as she laughed. And after she was torturing her children and nephew, she would, like, love bomb them and just, like, sprinkle them with affection and, like, "Oh, I love you," and all this. It's absolutely vile. So they don't know what to do. They're like, one hand they have this evil person, and the next hand they have this loving, seemingly loving person.
Yeah, she's just completely mind-fucking them.
Yeah.
Abuse in all directions. Just so abusive.
Horrible. In December of 1988, just a few months after Shane moved in, so the nephew, Shelley opened her doors to another person in need, a woman called Kathy Loreno. So Kathy's an old friend who had recently lost her job. Shelley welcomed her longtime friend with warmth and positivity, which is apparently how she was to people. She showed that she was a nice person at first, and then she'd turn. That's the face that she showed to most people at first. But like so many others before her, Kathy would soon discover that Shelley's charm was nothing more than a facade. Kathy became Shelley's next victim. With nowhere else to turn, she found herself trapped in a nightmare. Shelley forced her to perform grueling labour, often in the nude, like what she did to the children. She also drugged her with sedatives every night and deprived her of sleep. And when she was allowed to sleep, it was like a space near the boiler in the basement. So it wasn't even a bedroom. She just had like a little space between the boiler and the wall.
Why are we not punching this lady's teeth out? Not that I want to promote violence, but this is a grown woman that she's bullying, isn't it?
She was drugging her, though. She was giving her sedatives and keeping her awake, and I think she was just really good. I mean, this person as well just lost their job, so they felt that they couldn't leave. I think she's just really good at manipulating people, and she knows who that she can manipulate.
Yeah. That sounded like I was victim blaming. I'm just shocked that.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean, because it's in a way it's different with children because they've grown up to think this is normal, unfortunately.
Well, and also kids look at adults as the authority figure, so if they say that's how it's going to be, then that's how it's going to be.
Yeah. This was over a few years. She moved in 1988. And over time, the toll on Kathy became devastating. She lost over 100 pounds and most of her teeth.
Oh, shit.
During her stay. Her life shattered by the very friend that she trusted. And she beat her as well. She used to beat her a lot. And in 1994, after one particularly brutal beating, she was left unconscious in the basement. Then Shelley went out for the day. God knows where she went. And it was David, after he got in from work, that he heard like guttural noises coming from the laundry room in the basement. And he went downstairs and he found Kathy choking on her own vomit.
Oh, God.
Her eyes rolled back into her skull. David flipped her over onto her side and started scooping the sick out of her mouth, trying to get air to her. But unfortunately, it was no use. And he started giving her CPR, but he was unfortunately unable to save Kathy.
Oh my God.
David knew that he should have called 911, but he didn't want to get Shelley into trouble, and he didn't want to get into trouble with Shelley, or that the kids go through more trauma, and he didn't want to ruin their lives or their family. So when...
The opposite. Just get her put away and your kids are going to be like, yay!
Yeah, they'll be fine. They'll be like, yay, finally. When Shelley learned of Kathy's death, she immediately took control, convincing David and the children that if any of them spoke to outsiders, they would all be put in prison. At her insistence, David took on the grim task of burning Kathy's body, and together he and Shelley scattered the ashes and bits of bone like all around the area. erasing any trace of, like, the horrific event.
Christ almighty.
To anyone that asked, Shelley had a simple, cold explanation with what happened to Kathy. Kathy had run off with her lover, Shane, so this back to the little nephew.
Yeah.
He was obviously a witness to this. He knew what had happened. He knew that this isn't a very good situation. He needs to get out.
Yeah.
He was like, I need to get out of this house. So this is the following winter. Shane had actually managed to take some photos of Kathy when she was still alive, when she was frail and beaten and forced to live in a freezing basement beside the boiler. So he was desperate to expose the truth. He had these pictures as evidence, and he showed them to Nikki, one of their daughters, and said, I'm going to go to the police with this, and we're going to get out. And Nikki, because she is so terrified of her mother and the fact that she is convinced that they're all going to go to prison because of this, because of her mother, she told her mother what Shane was going to do.
Oh, God.
So Shelley was absolutely enraged and ordered David to kill Shane.
What? Gee, fucking hell.
Yeah. David is a weak, subservient, like a weak man. And he just complied and he shot Shane in the head.
What the fuck?
God.
No.
Yeah.
He shot his nephew in the head because his psychopathic wife told him to.
Mm-hmm. So, like they had done
Poor little
with
loves.
Kathy, they burned Shane's body in their yard and scattered his ashes over the water in like a brook thing they've got at the bottom of their garden.
It baffles me that nobody could smell him burning.
I don't know how close their neighbours are.
True that.
Yeah. Yeah, just, again, not leaving much of a trace. In 1999, another victim would move into the house, a man called Ron Woodsworth. And like the others, it didn't take long for the abuse to start. Ron Woodworth was a 57-year-old veteran, but he had drug problems. Shelley didn't allow him to use the bathroom in the house. He used to have to go outside. So she just treated him like he was trash, like he was dirty and not clean enough to go to the toilet in her house. In 2002, Shelley took over the care of a man called James McClintock, who was an 81-year-old retired merchant crewman who had reportedly willed his estate to Shelley, which was about $140,000 worth.
Convenient.
Yeah. Coincidentally, Mr. McClintock died from a head injury.
Uh-huh.
He allegedly suffered after a fall in his home. However, police were never able to officially link Shelley to his death. Back to the house where Ron Woodworth is staying, Shelley demanded Ron cut ties with his whole family to isolate him. She forced him to drink his own urine. Then she ordered him to jump off the roof, which, because she had abused him so badly, he actually followed through and he jumped off the roof from a 2-story building. He didn't die from the fall, but it left him very badly injured. To take care of his wounds, as treatment, Shelley would pour bleach over his wounds to clean them.
There aren't many words. I don't know what to say.
It's horrible, isn't it? I've not started with the best. In 2003, she would eventually kill Woodworth as well. But they didn't know what to do. There was a reason why they couldn't burn it this time. I don't know if it was a burn ban or something like that. There was something going on where they couldn't burn his body. So they had to just store him in the freezer. They stored him in the freezer for quite a long time, and they later buried him in the yard. But it was Ron's sudden disappearance that finally opened the then 14-year-old Tori's eyes to what was going on in her home. So Tori was the youngest daughter. The other 2 sisters had left home by now. So Tori was the one that was least abused out of all the children that she's had. I don't know if it's just because she was David's daughter, so she wasn't allowed. I don't know why, but for some reason Tori wasn't as abused as the 2 elder sisters.
And yet, I'm pretty sure it still wasn't a picnic.
I'm pretty sure she was still abused, absolutely, just not to the extent of the first 2. So, yeah, Tori was 14 years old at the time, and she kind of realised, actually, I think my mum and dad might have murdered this man, and I think they've buried him in the garden. So, like I said, by this time, her older sisters had already moved out, but when Tori shared her suspicions with them, they urged her to act, because they knew full well what they'd done before. They encouraged her to gather Ron Woodworth's belongings as evidence, hoping that it would help them build a case against their mother. So Tori did what they asked, determined to seek justice. Later on that same year, police launched an investigation into the Knotek property, and their worst fears were confirmed when they discovered Ron's body buried in the garden. So both Shelley and David were arrested, finally bringing light to the horrific truth hidden within their household. Tori was placed in the custody of her sister, Sammy, while David eventually confessed to his role in the killings. He admitted to shooting the nephew, Shane, and then he admitted to burying Ron Woodworth in his garden about 5 months after that, so he didn't just spill it all. For his actions, David was charged with second-degree murder for Shane Watson's death and served 13 years in prison. Michelle, so Shelley, faced charges of her own, and she was charged with second-degree murder for Kathy Loreno's death and manslaughter into connection to Ron Woodworth. Despite the horrific nature of the crimes, Shelley received a sentence of just 22 years.
She should be put to her death.
And she was like the mastermind behind it, so I'm glad she got more than he did. But he still killed a young man.
Yeah.
So now in their mid-40s, Nikki and Sammy, so the two older sisters, have built new lives in Seattle, while their younger sister Tori sought a fresh start in Colorado. The scars of their past still linger, but the sisters have tried to move forward. In 2018, their father, David Knotek, was paroled and reached out to his daughters, seeking their forgiveness. For Sammy and Tori, the request was complicated but not impossible, despite the horror that they had lived through and that he had allowed them to live through. They viewed their father as yet another victim of their mother's manipulation. Publicly, they admitted they had forgiven him, recognizing the broken man beneath the trauma. What one of the daughters had said, he was just like a very weak man and no backbone. She said he would have made a lovely husband to like a normal person, but he was with a monster, and it just brought the worst part of him out. Nikki, however, could not find it within herself to accept his apology. For her, the memories of abuse were just etched too deeply, the pain too raw. Forgiveness was out of reach, and the past remained unforgivable. Then, on the 8th of November 2022, so pretty recent, after only serving 18 years behind bars, Shelley Knotek was released from prison at the age of 68. Since her release, she has stayed out of the public eye, leaving an unsettling silence in her wake. The next chapter of her chilling story remains unwritten, casting a lingering shadow over those who survived her reign of terror.
She's a piece of shit.
I don't like that
That's
ending
my story.
at all. I don't like it.
Horrible, isn't it? She's only 68, isn't that old?
And she's not had a massive personality transplant.
No, they're impossible.
Jesus.
I can't believe they've let her out. She should have died in prison.
Granted, off the top of my head, I can't remember every single case you've ever covered. She sounds like one of the most sadistic, evil...
Yeah.
Like, just pure fucking evil.
Fucked up, isn't she?
She must be
It's
one
very
of the...
sadistic with what they were making. She was making the kids do, and putting glass in her younger brother's shoes.
And that's what's troubling.
I know that she did worse things, but it's just like she was a child when she did that.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Mental.
It's a difficult concept to even imagine, but do you think some people are just born evil?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
I do. I think it's both. I think some people are born evil, and some people it's like the environment that they grow up in.
But I mean, to be fair, it wasn't great, but it wasn't...
She had the perfect chance to have a normal life when she went to live with her dad.
Wow. I'm lost for words. Thanks for that, Becky. Never heard of that case.
I hadn't heard of it until I happened to fall on it. Yeah. And she was a serial killer because it's 3 murders.
Yeah. Awful.
And she would have done it again and again.
Oh, yeah.
And she's out, so...
She probably will.
Yeah, she probably would have started looking after older people. You know, like the man that she did look after.
Yeah.
I reckon she would have gone into that.
That is a terrifying thought, because she still can.
Yeah. Well, I hope there's something in place where she can't apply for anything like that.
Well, here's hoping that we never hear about her again.
Yeah.
Jesus, that's killed the mood a bit. Shall we lighten the mood a little bit?
Let's lighten it.
Yeah.
Today's story is a strange one. I thought I would come back with a bang.
Bang.
Yeah, that's me.
Kaboom.
Kaboom.
Boom.
Bring in the weirdness. I have absolutely zero proof that this actually happened.
Well, we weren't there, so we can't prove that it didn't.
Exactly. But when I heard this man's story, there was no way I couldn't tell you about it, because it is beyond bizarre and has a lot of people wondering if this is all a terrifying truth that actually thousands of people have reported, or just the overactive imagination of an elderly gentleman.
We will be the judge.
You let me know at the end what you think.
I will.
What I can say is that David Huggins, the man in question...
I'm enjoying that name.
David Huggins.
Oh, go on, David. Give us a Huggins.
The man in question has never had any mental issues in his life. He has never had to seek professional help, and in fact is the picture of health in every way.
Go on, Dave.
He says that he's never been sick one single day in his life, not even a cold. Not even a cold.
Everyone's had the shits.
David hasn't. David hasn't.
David hasn't. Do you know what? He drinks a glass of wine a day. And it keeps the doctor away.
Maybe.
I made that up. I don't know that he does that. Just justifying my drinking habits.
Does it keep the doctor away?
I don't even drink that much. I don't know.
It's okay. Don't be flustered.
Do you want to keep digging, or shall I keep going?
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
Here's a spade. Yeah.
This is the story of David Huggins, the artist who lost his virginity to an alien.
Oh, I didn't see this story going there.
I know.
I'm excited.
I thought you said the artist that lost his vagina. But, yeah.
I can find no exact dates for his birth and cannot find if he is still alive today. If he is, according to the articles I have read, he would be around 79 years old, placing his date of birth around 1945. Don't hold me to that. That was just me making math.
Go on, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
During his childhood, he lived in Paulding County in Georgia. His parents had a farm and the area was extremely rural. Strange things began to happen to David when he was 8 years old. His first encounter with a being from another planet was with a small, hairy creature with bright, yellow, glowing eyes. David was playing by a tree and heard an unfamiliar voice say, "David, behind you." He turned around and was confronted with the creature. He was terrified and began scrambling backwards to get away from it. The hairy thing seemed to not want to frighten him, and so turned around and made its way back into the woods. The second encounter was with a praying mantis-type alien. David had gone to his barn to find a baseball, and he heard a strange noise. When he went to investigate, he ended up face to face with the insect-like being. He screamed, and as he did so, the creature spat blue liquid all over him. David began running as fast as he could to get away from it, and as he did, the liquid evaporated from his clothes. So when he told his mother about it, she just put it down to his imagination and thought no more of it.
Oh, imagine just walking around and then it's just like
Yeah, just puked
Spit.
blue stuff in his face.
and that's nice.
The third meeting was more troubling. David was walking to a friend's house when he suddenly got the overwhelming feeling he was being watched. He turned around and saw the head of a classic grey alien peeking at him from behind a bush. What happened next is a bit of a blur. He knew he fell backwards and wondered why everything was so bright. He looked up to see himself surrounded by little greys, and that's all he knows. Next thing he was aware of was hearing 3 loud beeps and finding himself stood in a field of weeds. One day, still during his childhood, he was in the fields behind his house searching for arrowheads. Then, out of nowhere, he sees little greys falling from the sky above him. As soon as these greys hit the ground, they start running straight towards David. He, of course, is terrified and ran away as fast as he could. He went to the front of his house and crouched down to see if they were following him, as his house was on pillars so he could see straight to the other side. Do you see what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he saw their legs stood at the back of the house. And then, strangely, they just gave up and walked away. That night, David heard rustling outside his bedroom window. He looked out and saw the greys looking up at him. And then they began entering his bedroom. They grabbed him and took him outside, where they floated up into a bright oval-shaped craft. He remembers that once inside it was also very bright. A tall lady with dark hair entered the room, with a large metal rod in her hand. One of the greys held David while she inserted the rod up his nose. He felt like she had released something in there before pulling it out, like he was getting microchipped or tagged. He was in pain and looked up at the woman and said, "You hurt me." To which she replied, "Let me see." And once she looked at him, all the pain vanished. David explains that when the beings would speak to him, it was almost always through telepathy. He, however, spoke to them normally. He says he often saw crafts after that, always the same oval shape, but sometimes the light differed. They were either extremely bright or very dark. He recalls that one thing that never changed was the total and utter silence that came with each appearance, almost like the whole world just stopped during the encounters. This is how he knew they were around, even before seeing them. No birdsong, no breeze hitting the trees, no traffic, just absolute, unimaginable silence. One of the strangest things about this story is that David seems to be visited by multiple different species of aliens that all appear to be working together. There was, of course, the little greys. He described them as being the worker bees of the community. Then the hairy creature with glowing yellow eyes. No idea what his purpose was, but he seemed to always be around. There was the large insect-type alien that had spat the blue stuff all over David. He admits this one scared him the most, even though when it spoke to him, it sounded gentle and well-meaning. In fact, he says that none of these creatures ever seemed overly hostile. There was a tall male with a sort of knob on the back of his head. This guy appeared to be in charge. And finally, the tall ladies with dark hair. They had alien faces that finished in a point with large dark eyes. Their hair almost looked like a wig, and David never did quite figure out if they were or not. But their bodies were very human-like. He began seeing one of these ladies a lot more than the others. Her name was Crescent. You may be wondering why David never told his parents about any of these encounters. Were you wondering that?
Yes, I was wondering.
Well,
See?
his mum didn't believe him on the first one, so he probably was like, well, fuck you. He probably didn't want everyone to think that he was insane.
Yes. He would go running in the house screaming for help, but of course when his parents would check, there was never anything there. He was beaten often by his alcoholic parents and admitted...
Oh, bless him.
I know. And he admitted one day to Crescent that every time he told them about her or the others, he would get the belt.
Oh, bless.
This appeared to trouble her immensely, and she advised him never to talk about it to them again. And he didn't. In 1961, when David was 17, again, I think this is me working the math.
You're a maths whiz.
He was walking alone in the woods when he saw Crescent sat under a tree. She stood up and began walking towards him. He suddenly became extremely turned on.
I've suddenly become extremely turned on.
This is hard to get through.
He suddenly got a massive boner.
Yeah. Suddenly, I'm rock hard. My chode is choding.
I miss this.
Very demure, very mindful.
Very hard.
So he sees Crescent coming towards him, and he gets
A massive stonk on. Whoa! Lads.
in his own words, he couldn't get his pants off fast enough. End quote.
We've all been there.
Hey.
He laid back in the grass and let the alien mount him.
Oh.
He
Like a
very
horse.
quickly, this is so hard to get through.
Is that sexy? He lay in the grass and let her mount him.
I'm not finding it difficult to get through because I'm getting turned on. I'm finding it difficult to get through without laughing.
Okay.
Okay.
Serious. We've all
Yeah.
been there.
None of us literally have been there, like, ever. When was the last time you got mounted by an alien, Tash?
Yeah, it's yet to happen.
Yet to happen.
Yeah.
Whew. He very quickly reached climax, which he described as so intense it hurt.
Oh.
And then he passed out.
I think normal. It was his first time. I think normal he came quick. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
And that it hurt.
I've not got a penis, so I don't know. If it's going to hurt.
Maybe it's a thing. And then he passed out. And I think that's when you know it was good, when you, like, literally just lose consciousness. 'Cause
Also, I think, isn't, pleasure and pain very close to each other or something?
I don't know. Is that
I don't know either. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on quick. Ugh.
Maybe you had a urine infection.
Maybe I had a urine infection. Maybe there was stinging nettles underneath him where he lay.
Yeah. It's like, we're shagging on a thistle. That's what's happening.
Oh, can you imagine thistle down your pee hole? Anyway, right.
Well, someone's done that.
Someone's definitely done that. There are some sick
Someone's
fucks
definitely
around.
shagged on a thistle as well by accident.
Oh, yeah.
Someone's
for sure.
probably done it on purpose.
Yeah. Shag me on these thistles.
Oh, God. But somebody's definitely done that. So, yeah, she mounted him. He came. It hurt. He passed out.
Sounds terrible.
Then 20 minutes later, he woke up and he was alone.
How do you know it was 20 minutes? Did he look at his watch just before he came? Oh, hold on.
I don't know. Maybe.
Right, sorry, poking holes.
I don't think the time matters. The fact is, he passed out and she'd fucked off.
Oh,
Yeah.
rude.
Muggy.
And he woke up with his pants round his ankles laid in the grass like a fucking weirdo. He quickly got dressed and went home. He thought to himself that was definitely not how he'd imagined losing his virginity.
I didn't imagine this was how the story was going to go.
No. At the age of 19, David had had enough of living in Georgia with his drunk parents who would be constantly screaming at each other or whacking him, and so he decided he had to get out or he would never leave. He had always enjoyed painting and drawing, even though his parents did not encourage it, and he'd heard about the Art Students League in New York and thought that sounded like a great place to go. So he wrote his parents a letter telling them where he was going and left. He waited for them to be out so they couldn't try and stop him. 2 years later, he remembers that he began having very vivid dreams about Crescent. She would appear from the dark and walk towards him. Now, he doesn't go into detail about this, but my guess is, knowing the rest of the story, that this was for sexual intercourse.
I'd say so.
Yeah, I think so. And every morning when he woke up,
She
he
was
heard a
harmony.
voice saying, "We'll be back tonight."
Oh.
Baby.
After months and months of these bizarre dreams, he'd had enough of wondering if they were just dreams or if they were in fact happening. So he decided that to find out, he was going to buy some flowers for the woman. And if she took them in the morning, he would have proof that what he was experiencing was in fact real. Sure enough, when Crescent appeared, he told her that the flowers were for her, and she took them. In the morning, they were gone, and David had his answer. Crescent was real, and so were all the visits and the sex.
So hold on, he's having hanky-panky whilst he's asleep, and he didn't know whether he was having hanky-panky.
Well, yeah, it's all very bizarre and dreamlike, so he didn't know.
That feels like rape.
Well, they are aliens.
That doesn't feel consensual.
It depends if he was down or whether he was asleep. Like, he was awake in
It's
the
a
dream.
grey area.
It's a grey area. How do you prosecute an alien?
Exactly. What are you going to do? But he's not actually that bothered about it.
Sure.
He just wanted to know, like, you know,
That's fair. That's fair.
am I losing my mind or is this actually happening? So he got these flowers. They'd gone. He knew he wasn't losing his mind. Crescent was real. And he almost got excited at the idea because now he knew that they were going to visit again that night. And he tidied up his whole apartment as if he, like, considered these encounters dates.
Is he going to have the "what are we" conversation?
She's been many times before with an untidy apartment.
Yes, but he didn't think that that was really happening. Now he knows it's really happening. He wants to make a good
I
impression.
mean, nothing makes me clean more than the prospect of somebody coming round my house. Not
Yeah.
just a date, but anyone.
Yeah, whole top to
Exactly.
bottom.
So now he knows for sure he's tidying up.
Yeah, good. You know, he's a stand-up guy.
Now, you might have picked up on the fact that I keep saying they instead of just her. That's because every time David and Crescent were having sex, the praying mantis type alien would always be there watching them.
Wanking in the
Oh,
corner.
yeah. He likes to watch.
Just watching. With
Like-
its little like legs going. Gross. David says that during this time he considered Crescent his girlfriend. He'd been on a few dates with girls from his class, but they never got past one date, and soon he just gave up and just concentrated on his relationship with Crescent.
Probably because he was asking everyone to dress up as an alien.
Maybe.
And he's using words like mount me.
Mount me.
Mount me.
Not sexy.
Yeah.
I am incredibly turned on. Mount
Yeah.
me.
I've got a massive stonk on. Come and mount me.
In 1967, Crescent appeared in David's room through a portal that opened up in his wall. She looked very worried and said to him, "The baby is dying." He was taken aback and asked, "What baby?" "Your baby," she replied, "but it's dying." She grabbed a baby out of a container and dangled it in front of him. He shouted at her, "You can't hold it like that. Cradle it in your arms." He pleaded with her to let him come to the craft to care for his child, but she refused. But he wasn't taking no for an answer, and next thing he knew, he was on the craft in front of Crescent and the hybrid baby. The praying mantis creature was there, and he was pissed. "What are you doing here?" it demanded. And David replied, "Seeing my baby, and you can't stop me." And with that, he reached out and touched the infant. And when he did, he felt a sort of transfer of energy go from him to the baby. And it began to move. It had been limp and lifeless, and now suddenly its eyes were open and it appeared to regain strength. Upon seeing this, the insect creature asked David to follow him into another room. Inside, David saw row upon row of sickly, dying babies. He asked, "Whose babies are these?" And the insect creature pointed to David and said, "Yours." He was stunned. There must have been at least 50 babies.
Bloody hell. So every visit resulted in a baby.
Basically, yeah. So knowing that these were all his children, he began touching each one and experiencing the same transfer of energy as he had with the first. After this quite traumatizing experience, David had a full-blown meltdown. He would cry out about the dying babies and find himself sobbing uncontrollably. He was filled with guilt, thinking it was all somehow his fault. He heard voices calling out to him, telling him everything was all right, everything was fine, but he never believed them. Until one day the creatures visited him. 2 large women held him down while Crescent showed him the baby, saying, "See, it's alive, everything's okay." After that, David calmed down and began feeling normal again. The aliens left him alone after that, or so he thinks, because his memory of everything was wiped. He forgot it all. He went on to get married and have a son, and was living a completely normal life until August of 1987, when glimpses of memories began reappearing. This, of course, messed with David's head. He had no idea what to think of it all. He began to be super aware of his surroundings and felt like he was constantly being watched. Not knowing who to talk to about these beyond crazy memories popping back in his head and his extreme paranoia, he was totally stressed out. Then he heard about a guy called Bud Hopkins, a ufologist that had been studying abduction cases and had even written a book. David felt drawn to the book and went out to find it. Reading through its pages, even more memories began to creep into his mind. He read of other people that encountered these little grey beings and who had been sexually assaulted by the tall woman. Finally, he felt like this was validation of his experiences and memories. But having nowhere to put all these thoughts and feelings, he began to paint. The paintings depict the alien beings, Crescent, and his sexual encounters with her. I'll post a few of these paintings so that you get the gist of them. His paintings must have caught the attention of the beings, as they once more made contact with him to decide whether it was okay or not for him to tell his story through his art. The leader, with the knob on his head, finally said, "Let David do his paintings."
I, head of Dick, say
It's
he
okay.
may paint his
What kind of knob
memories.
was it? Like a doorknob, like a round one?
Yeah, I think so.
Or a knob.
No, it's not a dick. It's like a knob. I don't know. Every time David began a painting, another memory would come flooding back. It was like he'd found the key to unlock his memory, one scene at a time, as to not overwhelm him too much. He recalls one time he was given a tiny alien that was wrapped up in cling film like meat you get at the supermarket.
Gross.
Yeah. It opened its eyes and mouth and began hitting the plastic. This scared David, so he gave it back. Another time he remembers suckling on Crescent's...
The word suckle is horrible.
Oh. He remembers suckling on Crescent's breasts. It's so awful.
Why suckling, though?
Why is
Just
it so
sucking,
horrible?
Licking.
Because he's trying
I
to
don't wanna
teach
talk about
her.
anything.
He's trying to teach her how to nurse the babies.
So at the start of this, start of this
I just
story,
don't know how we got from that to this.
Did you say that he was okay, like mentally and stuff? Because
Yeah.
He is.
the geezer's suckling an alien.
What? Listen, he said that he's never been ill, he's never been to see a doctor. How the fuck does he know that he's okay if he hasn't been to see a doctor?
Good point.
So he's suckling on her titties. Ah.
I just had a horrible thought that somewhere, like, imagine we were super famous and we had like 100,000 listeners or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that somebody...
And someone dares us to suckle on each other.
Fucking hell, no! What?
I don't know, I give up. Go on.
Just imagine that somebody's wanking to this story. Like, they're listening to it.
Oh, Emma. Emma Schmemma. They would have finished at the
You're
Thistle
doing
Balls.
it, enjoy it.
No, if you're doing
Yeah.
it.
Stick
Enjoy
your finger up your
yourself.
butt.
You must be on round 2 by now, but because I bet that all that thistle talk definitely finished you the first time.
No, but on a serious note, do you think anyone has wanked over our podcast?
No.
Oh my God! No!
Bloody hell, I hope not. Ah, no.
Mind you, I bet people, not particularly. Just move on.
If you have
people
wanked over
listen
us,
to
you can
podcasts
pay
all the
us.
time. Yeah, I definitely want the money for that. I want to be paid.
Please, I don't want to know that happened, so let's just not. Why are we talking? Right, it's my fault, but it got taken too far.
It's not like us.
It's my fault, but it got taken too far. Right, let's move on.
Of course, David had to speak about this to his wife. Standard.
Did he?
It's like, I desperately need to tell you that I've been suckling.
Yeah.
Every day I'm suckling.
But as he began talking, as soon as he got to all the sexual stuff, she just shut him down, saying that he'd lost his mind.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Fucking weirdo. Go to a doctor.
She wanted a divorce.
I mean, bit harsh. Take him to see a doctor first.
Well,
yeah, I'd be like, well, you're mentally not unwell. You're unwell.
They had been having issues before.
Because he keeps cheating on her with an alien.
I think no. Because this all happened before he got married, and then they left him alone, and he'd forgotten about this completely. They'd wiped his memory, and then suddenly, with this new book coming out by this other guy, Hopkins or whatever, I think it was Hopkins, it triggered his memories, and they all came kind of flooding back to him.
Oh, okay.
But they had been struggling, and this was the final straw. So she was like, I am out.
I'll be honest, I can't blame the girl.
She doesn't move out, though. This is the weird thing.
That old chestnut.
His son was also told about his experiences. A lighter, child-friendly version, of course. But he then grew up just knowing that his dad had lived through something a bit different to everybody else and didn't and doesn't question it to this day.
Fair enough.
Does he not want to know about all of his half-siblings?
Exactly.
He's got like 60 brothers and sisters.
He's got just like all these alien siblings. He remembers his childhood being a good and pretty normal one, despite the things that had happened to his father. To finish off, David's friends all say that he is the nicest guy you could meet, very friendly, but also quiet and well-mannered. And they all believe his story. He has, through his painting, made friends with other UFO enthusiasts who say that what he's painted and the story that goes with it is very similar to other people who claim to have been abducted, and the descriptions that he gives his story even more credibility. And that is the story of David Huggins. My source for that story, because it was just the one, was the documentary called Love and Saucers, and you can find that on YouTube. So, would you like to see some of the paintings?
Yeah.
Yes. Paintings.
Paintings.
Painting.
Are you ready?
Yeah, born ready.
Right, I'm going to hit you with a good one to start.
Oh, gosh. Why is it kind of my hairstyle?
It's interesting, isn't it?
Got perky tits. For an
Great
alien. For a
tits.
breastfeeding mother of 50.
So, do you want to talk about the image I just showed you?
Well, it was an image of an alien with her boob out, holding an infant, yet a man was suckling on her
I'd
boobie.
say not a great position for breastfeeding, actually.
No, the head isn't supported,
Yeah.
among other things.
Yeah.
And also his latch is not good.
His latch is not great. Open that mouth more, baby.
Oh, and why is there a baby up his ass?
Yeah.
Or is that just me?
It is somewhat troubling, that picture, I'm not going to lie.
Okay, so that's...
And the babies look like weird little skeleton aliens.
Yeah.
Okay,
They need that milk more than him.
I'll hit you with another one.
Yeah.
Hang on.
I wonder what alien milk tastes like.
And also, if they didn't know about breastfeeding, why do they have massive tits?
Yeah.
Unless they magicked them with their alien magic.
Maybe they grew the boobs because they had a hybrid child.
Maybe. Hi! Hey, guys!
That's the alien that he was given that was in cling film.
Oh, yeah.
So that's that one.
Yeah.
Very typical alien looking.
Yeah, really, like, when I think of alien, I think of that.
Yeah, the big head with the big eyes, little nose and mouth, long fingers, skinny.
Little sex scene here.
Oh.
Oh dear. Have we not seen the worst then with the suckling?
Oh, there's one more that's pretty.
It depends what I find as worse. Oh. There she was mounting.
Yeah. She didn't get undressed.
Why is he lying like that? What the hell is he doing with his elbow?
Look at that mouth.
Yeah.
That's because
She
she was
just
hurting him. Bored as fuck.
Her face is just the same in every picture. Like, just fine. Just mildly amused.
Yeah.
Dear. Right.
So this is what we're doing
She
now,
wasn't
isn't it?
having a good time, was she?
Next one.
She was just trying to get preggers. How fast did they pop those babies out as well? It must have been like same night. Oop.
Well, you don't know how long the gestation period for an alien is.
Who knows?
Well, there was like 50 babies though, so it must have been 9 months.
Oh, the praying mantis.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, I thought it was a camera.
No.
I thought they'd set up the tripod.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Why is he lying like that in the... Why is he sleeping like that? Is he waiting to be mounted?
Yeah.
So this image is he's lying on the bed, but he's lying as if you would lie.
Don't make out that you don't lay like that when you're waiting for your husband to come and mount you.
Well, you've got me all right. Exactly. And I thought there's a praying mantis at the bottom of the bed, which I thought was a camera. And then she looks like she's wearing a scream mask.
She does. She does.
And she's pointing to the praying mantis like, hey man, I've got this one. And she's just about to go and mount.
Yeah. Okay, so the hairy little creature, do you remember him?
Yeah.
Yeah. These are great. I'm loving it. I'm enjoying myself.
Yeah, I'm glad you're having a good time. There he is.
Oh, Chewy.
I must say, his art's all right.
Yeah.
Not disliking it. I think he's got a great technique.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd find the hairy one cute or terrifying. I think if I saw that in the Coming Out the Woods, I would shit myself.
Well, yeah, you would, wouldn't you? Oh, yes, this one is good. This is the last one now. And it's a photo of David himself with one of his paintings.
Paintings. Oh, David looks like Carl.
He does!
It's interesting, isn't it? It's a lot to unpack, isn't it?
You're going to have to try and describe it.
Well,
I
don't know if you remember.
We should show the listeners.
Well,
Can you post these to your?
Yeah, they'll be posted on Facebook. But for everybody that's not,
Oh, well, you're gonna get banned if you post these to Facebook.
am I?
Do you think?
You're gonna get a marker. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You won't be able to show that.
Why?
You have
It's
to-
a
you have to
fucking
put a bar
painting
across-
of an alien.
Yeah, but it's still nudity, and you have to put a square across her vagina lips
So there is a
and her
picture,
very wide apart boobs.
and quite a manly physique,
She is very muscular.
athletic
She's got a very tidy vagina area.
vagina.
There's no hair
Yeah.
going on there.
I mean, to be fair, apart from, I'm kind of jealous of most of that. What's going on? Very toned, isn't she?
Again with the scream mask.
Yeah, the scream mask. Why is her face a lot whiter than anything else?
Because
is
she
she
had a
wearing
very
too
pale
much
face.
makeup? She's got a very pale face. And why is she holding her boob that way?
Yeah.
She's trying to be enticing.
It's just the boobs, it's the cupping. That it's not.
Also, Carl doesn't look that thrilled to be showing off
It's like,
his...
well...
Yeah.
It's like, well, I made this, but, you
Looks
know...
miserable.
Yeah, he looks miserable after. And he looks like Carl, the famous Carl.
He looks like Carl Tanzler.
He looks like he's tired. I know why, because he never sleeps. Every time he goes to sleep, he gets shagged. He never gets enough sleep. He's so tired. He's only 23.
Well done.
Oh, to be fair, that I could never draw that ever. So well done.
Yeah.
Good art.
Very well done. Nice art. And I'll try and post what I can to Facebook. I might have to add some little stickers over nips and lips.
It's just I don't want us to get us banned. That'd be so upsetting. I don't think.
Yeah,
I think it's like so many strikes and you're out though. I don't think we've ever posted everything that we shouldn't have.
No, we've never had a strike. If I put little stickers over it, it should be all right.
I think the boobs should
Put
be
little
fine.
alien
You can-
stickers over it.
Yeah,
I will.
an
the
alien emoji
heads.
over the vagine. The bobs of the
The
vagine.
vagine. Anyway, there you go. That is my story. Done. Boom. Finished.
Boom! Out with a bang.
Out with an
Or
alien
two.
bang. Or 50.
With a massive bang. Right, well, Emma, that was magnificent. I loved
Yeah.
it so much. I love the weird ones.
Oh, God. I just could not tell you that story.
And the guy doesn't look like what I expected
No.
at all.
But you know what,
Yeah.
Dave? You got more than most people, so good for you, hon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Would you believe him?
I think he believes it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just stick with that.
I think he
we
believes
can-
it's true, and he's sticking to his story, to be fair. So
Yeah.
So
know.
I'm happy for him.
he's
Good
got
on him.
great conviction. So I think,
Shall we leave? Shall we go? Shall
well,
we
girls,
go?
we're
Yeah.
back with a bang.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for sticking with us through the summer and our lack of,
Podcastness.
anything, really.
I was posting some cracking memes on our Facebook
Yeah,
page.
Emma was really good.
Yeah. She was
We
on it,
commend
like,
her
hell on it.
and we thank Emma for everything she does for this podcast.
Just proving. No. Oh, stop it. I was just trying to prove that we were still,
No, you
around.
smashed it and we love you for that.
Oh,
So, guys, you can get us at all the usual places. As always, talk about us to your friends, to your family, to your neighbour, to the aliens that visit you in the night.
Uh-huh.
And in the meantime, stay safe.
Don't kill people.
and keep it weird.
Bye. Bye. Yeah.
This guy, hang on, I'm going to burp. I'd forgot the podcasting burps.
We didn't get it right from the beginning, so we're doing well.
Back to knobhead. Now you may be wondering why David.
David. My name is David.
Oh, Tash.
David.
And there's our blooper reel. It's just going to be Tash going, David.
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 Hello, Dave.
David. My name is Dave.
Alan. Yeah.
Alan.
Alan.
Alan.